everybody. How are we doing today? Hump Day, Wednesday. Another dreary day, but it's not too cold, so we're doing good. Here's a question. The world is getting smaller. That's pretty clear. Cultures are assimilating into each other. We're becoming more of a global melting pot as we go. So the question is really, if you are used to a certain way of doing things when you're out in public, how do you become a customer, grow to learn something that you've never done before? And this doesn't necessarily have to be a cultural thing. This could just be, I've never been to a hookah bar. I've never been to a hookah bar. I don't know the etiquette. Imagine, for example, that you only ever go to eat at Applebee's or Ruby Tuesday's, Red Lobster, restaurants like that. You walk in the door, somebody's right there ready to tell you what to do. They sit you down at a table of their choosing, give you a list of items to choose from, and then kind of guide you through the whole process. That's social norm etiquette. You know what to do. Imagine that's the only restaurant you've ever been to. What do you do when you walk into Chipotle? Or heaven forbid, someplace like Pat's King of Steak in Philadelphia, where if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to get yelled at. How do you deal with that? There's a balancing act right there. First, you got to be brave enough to try something new. Some people, that they don't even care. They just waltz right in and do what they want. Second off, you got to kind of observe and pay attention. Thirdly, you can always say to somebody who's around you who looks like they know what they're doing, hey, have you been here before? I've never done this before. What do I need to know, And then think about it that way. Let's say you're sitting in your favorite Applebee's restaurant, and somebody walks in the front. Let's say the hostess goes to seat somebody, there's nobody there, and somebody walks in the door, and you're standing there, and the guy's kind of looking a little nervous. He's looking around. Hey, you been here before? What are you supposed to do? Now, these are silly examples because these are restaurants, No, first off, the people behind the counter are being paid they're supposed to want you to be there. Supposed to. They don't always. Sometimes you run into a group, sneery, snooty, and if you've ever watched Mitchell and Webb, first episode, you know what I'm talking about. Highly recommend Mitchell and Webb if you're a fan of Kids in the Hall or any kind of sketch comedy, Monty Python. Hilarious. But that's neither here nor there. There's the employees of that restaurant are supposed to want you to be there, and they're supposed to help you figure out the proper etiquette and learn things. But then this goes a little bit further. I mean, it's not always how do you do things in this store. Like if you're used to going to a grocery store and you find yourself in a department store, like if you're used to going to Walmart and you find yourself in Sears, you could be like meandering around Sears looking for the giant checkout aisle. The Sears that I go to, there's checkouts everywhere throughout the store. That's the old school department store look and style. I think that may be going the way of the dodo, but it's still around now, which that makes it even worse is when you go into one of these really like old school places you've never been to before. So, you got to ask. And that is kind of what leads me towards what I'm really thinking about here is part of my job is to be the guy, and my day job here is to be the guy who can help you, if you've never done this before and don't know what's going on, help you make sure you have a good experience. If you walk into Chipotle and you're expecting somebody to bring you that food and you just sit down at a table and wait, nobody's even going to notice that you're there. Now, like I say, it's a restaurant. It's a 400 square foot area. You should be able to notice on your own what's going on here, But that doesn't always work when we're talking about something that's a little more corporate and a little less consumer, B2B. You got to get a little stronger in that regard. So, let's say you're brand new to the workforce. You've never worked in any kind of industry before at all. Like, what are you supposed to do? I remember when I was brand new first in the workforce, we were working at a place where we had vendors bring us stuff, physical substrates and equipments and boxes of materials that we would run through on a regular basis. And I was amazed that these guys who would come in here, they didn't We didn't pay them anything. They just were consulting us on best practices. My boss he was brand new also. He had no idea. He didn't know, well, he didn't really know the industry. I was trying to come up with something. He didn't know black ink from a X-Acto blade, but I couldn't do it. Not on the spot, sorry. We're in a sign making business. But that kind of was not what I was expecting out of vendors. I thought, well, they're consulting us. Surely they're going to want to get paid for this. I think they're going to rip us off. But no, what they knew the industry because they knew how to sell the products. So they knew the industry fairly well. Maybe not as well as people who actually do the work, but they knew it well enough. And I'm looking at this kind of vehicle right here. This is the kind of vehicle that I would have been working on. This is a pretty simple one. That's a very inexpensive design. It's not bad either. Not a bad design, just very inexpensive. Anyway, but because they knew the industry so well and they wanted to sell us products, they were giving us some free information, building some rapport, and then they can recommend products to us. Say, oh, this is mostly you're doing vehicle graphics. Well, that's terrific. Look, if you're doing a flat vehicle graphic, check out this IJ140. It's half the price of your IJ180, but it does great when you're doing big box vans like that aren't full wraps. This is what I'd recommend for you in that situation. It's going to save you a couple of $100 a roll, and it's going to give you a fantastic product for your client. And then we go, wow, that's great. These guys really got our back. They're helping us out. Yeah, I'm going to buy 140 from them. So things like that. So I guess the basic idea is, although on a real consumer level, when you walk into a restaurant that you've never been to before, you should kind of be able to figure out what's going on your own, and you may run into people who are gonna, no, you need to get in line. You may run into that from time to time. Don't let that bother you. You know, water off the duck's back kind of a thing. Just let it go. People are dumb. Don't stress about it. You can make fun of them later. But from a real B2B, when you're in an industry and you're dealing with your industry fellows, when you're brand spanking new and you're using a new service for the first time, they want to sell you on something. They want to make you feel good about something. Now, a lot of the times, if you're going to be into this, if you're looking for dirt cheap bottom of the barrel, you're not going to want to go somewhere where they're going to educate you. Dirt cheap bottom of the barrel cuts all that fluff away. So if you're looking for that, you got to educate yourself somehow. But I think it's generally a good idea to find 2 or 3 vendors or businesses that can work with you and get you information, get you price quotes, and find somebody who's middle of the road, work with them for a while, and then start digging down and figuring out, all right, do I really need the service here, or can I cut that crap out? You know, it's like this. You go into Bed Bath & Beyond, there'll be somebody there who can help you buy some extremely overpriced hardware, you know, if you need some picture hooks or something like that. Or you could go into a cheap-ass hardware store where they've got them on the shelf and there's one dude working the cash register. And it's very inexpensive and it's the exact same product. There's just nobody there to help you. So what do you want to pay for that box of picture hangers? $8 or $2? That's the kind of thing. But regardless, when you want to learn something new, you can ask. That's cool. Doesn't matter where it is. You're just going to get a variety of different responses. What do you think? You know, what in your industry? You been to a hookah bar? What was it like the first time? Anything at all. So that's what we're talking about today. Got to go do some work now. Help some people learn how to use my services and put a smile on my face and theirs. And have a good day.